podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe. For the intelligent, black men is relevant. Why ask questions when you know the answer? So we bypass outlast channels, no gossip. We about that. Life, tune in, subscribe, hop in the broadcast, stay current. Then the Spurling podcast, vibe with it. On the couch, leaving your house so you can ride with it. Voice of black excellence with no fronting. In the space we speak how we feel. The blizzard's coming.
Have pride in yourselves. Don't be so hard on yourselves. That's the other thing. Don't let this world keep kicking you and making you feel like you're not good enough. You plenty. I don't care if you're 10 pounds, 50 pounds overweight, 30 pounds underweight. You don't make enough money. You make too much money. You're too tall. You're too short. You're perfect the way you are. And I want you brothers to begin to take that. A lot of you guys did not have father figures to reinforce these things in you. You don't have that manly, fatherly love supporting you in the back of your head saying, son, you can go out there. The world is yours. I'm not your father's, but I love you like I'm your own uncle. We all one people. And so I'm telling you, brothers, I love you as a person that most people would say is successful. I'm telling you the opportunity is out there. And most of you guys are doing much better than I was at your age. You're more confident. You got the world. You got the benefit of people like me who've made mistakes. And I want to see you ball. That's it.
There you go. I like that clap. Woo! Not bad to be light skin, huh?
What's up? Welcome everybody. I want everybody in the chat room to type Chubby Chasers. Big girl avalanche. What's happening, man? I hope you guys are in for we're gonna have a good time tonight, man. We're gonna have some real conversation, man. I'm gonna talk to you fellas. Y'all knew this was coming. Anybody who follows my community tab on my Facebook page, you knew this was coming. You knew we are going to have this conversation. We're talking about women who cook and clean and cooperate. All right? Cook, cleans, and cooperate. We're going to get rid of the fit, feminine, and fine. Just say cook, clean, and cooperate, because most of y'all are not going to get fit, feminine, and fine. But you can get a woman who cooks, cleans, and cooperates, because those are things that she actually has to do. Fit, feminine, and fine. Golly, man. She could be fit, feminine, and fine and be a crackhead. Somebody type crackhead in the chat room. You know what I'm talking about? Crackhead. You got to cook. You got a crackhead that's cooking that steak and them beans, and you stick it around. She cooperate too until that itch hit her. You know what I'm saying? What I'm talking about? So, fellas, I want to welcome you all to this show. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. We got my man Mark the Freelancer. Who else we got up in here, man? Everybody, Glow Hardy, all my guys are in here, man. Oh, wow. Look, this is important. Okay. And tonight, you with Uncle D, you with Dennis Spurling, the Blizzard King, and we're going to delve into the topic that many might overlook, but it's crucial for any man aiming to accumulate wealth and power. The type of woman he chooses to be with a partner. Okay, that impact of your woman, the impact of your woman on your success, it can't be overstated. And today we'll explore why a woman who cooks, cleans, and is cooperative can be a powerful ally in your journey towards achieving your goals. In this podcast, we're going to cover a range of topics that shed light on a significant the significance in selecting a woman who not only supports your ambitions, but also contributes positively to your life in practical ways. The importance of choosing a cooperative woman, why cooperation is non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable trait in a woman, and how it directly influences your ability to accumulate wealth and power. How, the reality of physical appearance, and we all want to find women. Somebody type fine woman in the chat room. We all would like to have us a fine woman, right? But here's the thing. Physical appearance will initially be important, but it often takes a backseat to qualities like kindness, right? Cleanliness, and the ability to maintain a peaceful home. All right. And the other thing, the role of cooking and cleaning, because, the house is not a home unless there's some food being cooked on the stove, right? I think we all can agree with that. All right. Yeah. I mean, do we want to eat fast food every day? And so what we're going to talk about is how these domestic skills often are undervalued and are actually vital for creating a stable and nurturing home, a home life, which in turn supports your professional and personal growth. The other thing is mate selection for success. The critical role your woman plays in your journey to wealth and power, and why choosing a cooperative, supportive woman is key to achieving your long-term goals. And here's the other thing. Let's keep it real, fellas. Brothers. Let's talk about your preferences. The fact of the matter is cultural factors that influence Black men's openness to dating larger ladies. Somebody type larger ladies in, and you brothers better not lie, because you guys go overseas. I watch you. I'll be there watching. Y'all go overseas and y'all be getting the big girls that they have over there. They might not be as big as the ones we have here in the United States, but they are big girls nonetheless. You understand what I'm talking about? Somebody type chubby chaser in the chat room. You brothers know that you're chubby chasers. I don't know why Kevin Samuels came up in here and had y'all thinking fit, feminine, and all. Nah, you are chubby chasers born and bred, okay? Your mama was big, your baby mama big, and your girlfriend right now is big. Now, here's the thing. The impact of global exposure on your preferences. Shout out to the passport bros. Now that you're traveling overseas, you've been exposed to different standards of femininity. A lot of you men shift, and your preferences have changed. And it makes it very difficult to return to the previous relationships with these big girls. I understand. You like what you like, not trying to knock your hustle. I just want to point out what the obvious is. Now, you got to have some realistic standards, okay, with your preferences. And it's the importance of owning your own personal preferences and being honest about what qualities you truly value in a woman. Because, see, the truth is, some of y'all decided that you like a certain kind of girl, a woman with a certain kind of shape, just because everybody else liked it. But the truth is that might not even be you. You see what I mean? That you might like a different kind of woman. I mean, I'm just keeping it 100, because see, back in the day, she had to be what? Biracial looking, right? Slender. But at the end of the day, you might like a brown chick who's a little thick, brown and thick, around the hips. So, keeping it real with yourself is something important. The other thing is, we're going to talk a little bit about metabolism and ancestry and body type, and understanding how your body type and metabolism are linked to your ancestry. And it's why it's important to embrace your physical traits as part of your identity. And the thing is, you shouldn't hold a woman to a different set of standards than you hold yourself. I'm just keeping it 100 with you fellas, especially when she's cooperative. Now, by the end of this podcast, you all will have a deeper understanding of why the right woman is not just a companion, but a crucial factor in your journey towards achieving wealth, power, and overall success. So we're going to get down into it. But first, I'm going to give a big shout out to my man, Jamal Smith. Thank you for being the first one in. Shout out to him. Thank you so much, fam. I'm going to get all y'all in a minute after I finish running through this. The other thing, big shout out to Humble Introvert. My man said just the title of the video alone had me hot. It should, baby. We keeping it 100. Somebody type Chubby Chaser in the chat room. We going to get it cracking. Where the big girls at? We're going to have a big girl review out here. Okay, where you big girls at? All right, and shout out to my man Humble Introvert. Yeah, I had a few chunky ones myself. Laugh out loud. I'm keeping it 100 with you. Man, you look. Not all men require a fit, slender woman. If a woman cooks 3 meals a day and keeps a clean house, most men will appreciate and hold on to her. She might not even be that cooperative. I mean, I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you. But the strength of her cooking and cleaning, you might start looking at yourself like, man, maybe I need to do better. Now, that said, a healthy, well-maintained, respectable 6 out of 10 who's loyal and brings a man peace is better than a 9 or 10 all day. So what I'm saying is, and even though we're using chubby girls, it's a woman that you may find less desirable on a scale of 1 to 10. You see what I mean? You may find her to be a 6 or a 7, but you're going to take her over the 9 or 10 because she's cooperative, because she cooks, because she clean. In fact, most men will be more than happy to get a 6 or 7 in terms of looks. Experienced men like myself understand the challenges that come along with dealing with these so-called highly attractive women, and you would often prefer to engage with them casually if you can, get them in the sheets. But as far as investing in them deeply in a long-term relationship, it's just too much trouble. 10s are trouble, 9s are trouble. Think about it. Now, slim and shapely figures, fine women, that's going to fade with age. So men may, we're not going to be overly demanding. A few extra pounds, I said few. Shout out to Vincent Robinson. I'm going to get you in a minute too. A few extra pounds over the years are expected, given, especially considering the unhealthy food options that we have in this country. But kindness, love, good food, cleanliness, that's non-negotiable. Okay? Now, that being the case, cooking and cleaning alone aren't enough for every man to compromise his peace of mind. So if you are not a cooperative woman, you big and you uncooperative, but you cook and clean, right? I don't know. There's some men who place a higher emphasis on cooking and cleaning and cooperation, but that still remains a must. Okay? They still want you to be cooperative. Still, there are men who will tolerate an uncooperative woman if she cooks and cleans or possesses one of those other desirable traits, like beauty. She's fine and she cooks and cleans and she's a Hellcat. But you deal with her because she has some attributes. Every man has his own taste. But when it comes to mate selection and the focus that we're talking about, fellas, we're talking about money. Somebody type money in the chat room. We're talking about money and power. The focus is on choosing a woman who will help a man maintain money and power. It's challenging to achieve that with an uncooperative woman. Tom Stanley, the Millionaire Mindset, the guy who wrote that, talked about how productive men choose wives with specific traits that contribute to running a productive household and accumulating wealth. The late, great Kevin Samuels often said that men will lower their standards in looks to gain more cooperation. Now, in the context of a woman, and so I want you guys to sit back. We're going to really talk about this, okay? Shout out to Las Vegas. Now, here's the thing, fellas. A lot of us talk about submissive, okay? Somebody type submissive in the chat room. Don't submit to the husband. I get that. We're going to talk about that. And some of you Bible thumpers might be a little upset with me when I finish with this. But in the context of a woman submitting to her husband, okay, not submitting to her boyfriend, not submitting to her baby daddy. You understand me? Not submitting to the every man in the neighborhood. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. When it comes to submitting to her husband, she's not supposed to submit to some man that hadn't married her. Okay? You all are still dating. She's not supposed to submit to you. You understand, in the first place. And when I finish with this conversation, you'll have a much better understanding of what submission means. Women often perceive, but the truth is, women often perceive submission as slavery. However, a more appropriate term, in my opinion, which deals with the times that we live in right now, is cooperation. See, the truth is, fellas, you don't want a slave. You don't want a slave because you don't want the responsibility that comes with a slave. What you really want is a cooperative woman. Unfortunately, many women routinely submit to everyone else, including their boss and the reverend and their family members, except the men they claim to be in a relationship with. That's a problem. Okay? You're a slave for your boss. Anytime he says do something, you do it. You're a slave for your friends and your family member, but your man, you're uncooperative with him. I want you ladies to deal with that. All right, now I don't typically talk to the ladies. I'm talking to the fellas, but fellas, you need to be able to spot that. Now, submission isn't a negative concept. Men engage in submission regularly. We go to work, we're slave to the job, we bring home our paycheck, right? We're slave to the family and not spending solely on ourselves either. That's an act of submission and sacrifice. Being willing to risk your life to protect your family, that's a form of submission. Obeying God, living righteously, that's a form of submission. In that regard, you are submitted. But what happens when we submit to the will of God? Then what? We're doing his bidding, and we do that because he takes care of us, right? Now, I'm going to table that for a minute, and I'm going to talk about the concept of submission and cooperation within the context of marriage and how it can invoke different interpretations and feelings. Check the breakdown out. So submission. In many religions, because this is where it comes from, in many religious contexts, submission often refers to a wife's role in yielding to her husband's authority, sometimes grounded in specific spiritual interpretations. The idea that a wife must submit to her husband is not unique to Christianity. It's present across various religions. For example, in Islam, in the Quranic teaching in Islam, certain verses discuss the role of a husband and the wife. For instance, and I believe it's Surah An-Nisa 4 and 34, it mentions that men are protectors and maintainers of women. And sometimes that's interpreted as implying a form of submission. Traditional roles under Judaism, in Jewish teachings, particularly with Orthodox communities, wives are expected to respect and support their husbands. The concept of shalom bayit emphasizes peace in the home and often leads to roles that may reflect submission. In Hinduism, in some interpretations of Hindu scriptures, traditional roles may dictate that a wife should be devoted and submissive to her husband, reflecting cultural practices that have evolved over centuries. And of course, we all know, if we look at the Holy Bible, in Ephesians 5:22 and 24, wives are instructed to submit to their husbands within the framework of mutual love and respect. And interpretations vary widely among different denominations, but generally speaking, it refers to submission. So various religions and cultural practices, and many cultural practices worldwide, you have traditions emphasizing submission of wives to husbands. And it's often rooted in long-standing patriarchal structures rather than specific religious texts. Nevertheless, the expectation of submission is a theme that appears in many different religions and cultural contexts. And though the interpretations and implications differ significantly, many modern interpretations within these faiths advocate for women that emphasize, that they submit. And it comes under strict hierarchical views. Now, shout out to my man Jamal Smith. Now, what are the implications? Submission suggests, as I said, a hierarchical relationship where a woman holds, or should I say, a man holds authority over another, or specifically his woman, potentially leading to the perception of inequality or loss of individual agency, which Some might equate to slavery, and that's what a lot of women do. That's why some of them refuse to even submit to their husband um, uh, in saying their wedding vows. Now, in the traditional interpretation, submission is seen as a spiritual duty, often framed within the context of love, respect, and mutual commitment. Now, what is cooperation? Cooperation involves both people working together towards a common goal, emphasizing something like mutual respect and shared decision making. What's the implication? A cooperative relationship suggests equality where both people contribute to their talents to support each other in the family. Now, cooperation promotes teamwork, it promotes collaboration, fostering an environment where both folks feel valued in the relationship. Now, the key differences are a power dynamic, okay? Submission implies a power imbalance, while cooperation emphasizes some level of equality. Submission may center on adhering to a prescribed role, whereas cooperation focuses on collaborative efforts and shared responsibility. Submission can evoke feelings of obligation and constraint. You might as well be in jail, right? Slavery, right? That's what they say, right? But cooperation tends to inspire feelings of support and teamwork. While traditional views on submission can lead to negative associations, many modern interpretations of marriage advocate for cooperation as a healthier, more equitable approach. And this encourages both folks, the man and the woman, to engage actively and supportively in their relationship. And it promotes some balance and some nurturing in the family environment. Now, in the context of marriage, okay? Somebody type big girl in the chat room. In the context of marriage, a submissive woman, she typically follows her husband's leads and adheres to the traditional roles and emphasizes his authority within the relationship. And she not working, okay? She's not going to get the 50-50. What's the benefit of that? Well, the benefit of having a submissive woman is there are clear expectations, and it can simplify decision-making and reduce conflicts over roles. That's the point, okay? Right? Some may feel secure in traditional structures, and they believe they're fulfilling their expected roles. Now, a submissive approach can create a nurturing environment for both the man and the woman because, they view the roles positively. What's the drawbacks? The drawbacks are this, and these are the big ones. This dynamic leads to feelings of inequality and resentment. And the last thing you want to have is a resentful woman in your house. You hear me, fellas? Listen, okay? The other thing is the woman may begin to feel less valued or less heard. This is a problem, okay? The other thing, and this is a big one, I want you to hear me, the submissive woman is going to struggle with personal autonomy, leading to dissatisfaction or frustration. Okay? Now we're going to deal with that in a minute. The big one is in extreme situations, if you have a man who is the all-powerful and you have a woman who's submitting, all men are not great men. Okay? And submission can enable controlling and abusive behaviors if it's not balanced with mutual respect. Some of you men are just not ready for submissive wives because you don't know how to act. Now, what's the difference? A cooperative woman. A cooperative woman actively engages with her man in decision making and shares responsibilities and emphasizing their relationship and their respect for each other. What's the benefit of that? It promotes a better relationship because both people are at least heard, right? That doesn't mean that she's going to have the final say so in everything, okay? But at least they're both heard. And that leads to higher satisfaction. And it encourages collaboration and achieving family personal goals and strengthens the bonds of the relationship. Both folks feel empowered. And that fosters personal growth and fulfillment in both. Look, let me explain something to you. You might have the last say so as a man, but you definitely want a woman who you value and trust her opinion, especially on certain things. You don't want to be around there leading a child for the rest of your life. Okay? You want a woman who has developed intellectually and who has gained wisdom and experience. You need that woman's insight. Some things you're just not going to be able to see. I just want y'all to think about that. Now, what's the drawbacks of a cooperative woman? She may have difference in opinions, and that can lead to disagreements. And that's going to require strong communication skills to resolve, and many don't have it. Okay? And so without clear roles, there's going to be confusion about responsibilities, and that's going to lead to tension. Okay? Here's another thing. Collaborative decision-making, it can take more time than unilateral decision-making, and that's going to lead to frustration. So there's good and bad with both of them. All right? Now, the choice between submissive and cooperative approach in marriage, it can significantly impact the relationship. A cooperative dynamic generally promotes equality and shared responsibility, and it leads to a healthy and more fulfilled relationship. In contrast, a submissive dynamic may provide structure, right? We know what's going to happen. I'm going to get the last word. That's what's going to happen. But it can result in feelings of imbalance, dissatisfaction, if you don't approach it with care and mutual respect. Not every man is able to do that. And not every woman is able to do that. Can't do that in this modern society. So ultimately, the most effective approach often involves blending both, where both people support each other while maintaining their individual needs and preferences and maintaining their gender roles. And folks working in for the betterment of the family. Okay? Here's another thing. This also ties into the implications of submission in marriage, particularly regarding accountability and responsibility. Somebody type accountability in the chat room. And this is why you need the balanced approach. Okay? Why you want your woman to contribute meaningfully to the relationship. Somebody type accountability and responsibility. See, submission and autonomy. What is that? When a woman submits, she gives up some of her autonomy. And that creates a dynamic where her decisions are significantly influenced by her husband. And this can lead to the perception that she's not fully responsible for her actions. Hello. Right? In the context where submission is emphasized, the husband often assumes the role of protector and decision maker. And so what happens if he's the decision maker and that decision doesn't go the way it should go? This is going to lead to a situation where he's held accountable for his wife's actions. And in some religions and cultural frameworks, this can result in the husband facing consequences for his wife's choices. Do you all want to be responsible for all your wife's choices? All you fellas who want your woman to submit, because we're going to talk about the true definition of submission. If we're going to talk about where it came from the Bible. It came from these other religions. And in those books, they require the husband to be responsible for his wife because she submitted to him. See, many modern couples recognize the importance of shared responsibility because you don't want to be held responsible for her tax lien, do you, fellas? You damn sure don't want to be held responsible for that car accident she had where somebody ended up getting maimed. And so this shift highlights the accountability and it shouldn't rest. You look, man, you don't want that to solely rest on you. You might want to go ahead and work with that collaborative approach to decision making. Let that woman be responsible for her own actions, at least to a certain degree. Again, the strict submission model, it creates an unhealthy power dynamic. You got one person who's always in a position of authority, and that's going to lead to control issues and resentment. A submissive woman may feel disempowered, leading to frustration and a sense of helplessness in the relationship. And this is going to negatively impact her mental health and the overall relationship. And the other thing, as I said before, a lot of you men out there, guys, they're not great men. And if you got a submissive woman, right, it enables abusers. It almost invites abusers. And a submissive woman is going to feel unable to speak or even lead a situation without violating the perceived obligations. This is what we're dealing with. So the call for submissive wife may not fully address the complexities of accountability and responsibilities in the marriage. Many men today recognize the value of shared responsibility and are moving away from the traditional notions of submission, which can lead to significant risk and imbalances. Again, nothing is perfect. A cooperative woman, a cooperative relationship, it does emphasize mutual respect and accountability and shared decision-making, and it tends to promote healthier and more equitable relationships. And this approach allows both men and women to strive or to thrive and take responsibility for their actions. And it does foster more supportive, fulfilling marriages. Now, you're going to have some strong conversation skills. Okay, you're going to have some strong conversation skills because, yeah, I know this is a cooperative marriage, but damn, baby, you don't know anything about plumbing. Why don't you let me figure out which pipes to deal with? Or you see what I mean? This is what we're talking about. Now, here's the thing. I want to dig a little bit deeper into that situation where I talked about the history of the term submission. See, throughout history and across religious traditions, there have been instances where husbands were held responsible for their wives' actions due to the perception of ownership and submission. And this dynamic has far-reaching implications, including contemporary legal responsibilities such as alimony and child support. Now, I got 6 super chats. I'm going to need 20. We got 6. We need 14 more. So go ahead and get to cracking. I know you're involved in this conversation, but don't forget, we're here, and I'm here. Now, let's go into ancient Rome, right? Everybody wants the return of the patria potestas, right? The husband is held the patriarch. It grants him authority over his wife and his children. And if a wife, but here's the thing, if a wife committed a crime, the husband could be held accountable. For example, if the wife was found guilty of adultery, she could face punishment, and her husband might also be criticized for failing to control his woman. And that's a bad thing. You lose social status. Keep that in mind. In medieval Europe, under feudal law, women were often considered the property of their husbands. And if a wife committed a crime, her husband could face legal repercussions. She out there stealing someone's goat and cow, and now you're the one that gets put in flog, 100 lashes. Because it is deemed as a matter of law that he is in control of her actions. This is what true submission looks like. He could be punished for her theft or other offenses, and reflecting the belief that the husband was responsible for managing his household. That's submission. If you want to look at Sharia law, some of these religions, in some interpretations of Islamic law, a husband is considered the guardian of his wife. If she engaged in behavior deemed inappropriate, such as disobedience or infidelity, the husband might be held accountable within the community. And this reflects the belief that he has the duty to guide and correct her behavior. In the biblical context, in certain interpretations of the Old Testament, particularly among the ancient Israelites, a husband was expected to ensure his wife adhered to religious laws. If she didn't, he could be seen as failing in his duty. For instance, in Deuteronomy 22 and 24, if a married woman was found to have committed adultery, she and the man involved could face severe punishment, reflecting the husband's perceived responsibility for his wife's actions. Shout out to my man Jerome. Thank you so much for the cash app. Shout out. Did anybody else? Yeah, we won't get back to that. I'm gonna give you a big shout out a little later on. But you guys, listen. So ask yourself: do we really want submission? Is the modern time that we're in 2,000 years after many of these books were written? Do we really want submission? Do you really want to be held responsible for your wife's actions? And here's another thing, even outside of religious context, in many traditional societies, including indigenous cultures, a man might be held accountable for his wife's behavior. If she acted out of line, the community could impose sanctions on him, reflecting the belief that he should maintain control over her conduct. I've seen many times when a woman was getting loud with some man that she didn't know, and instead of going upside her head, the man decided to go upside her man's head. You see? So it's still something that we feel. It's still something that we do. Now, in some historical contexts, if a wife committed in the legal repercussions, right? If a wife committed a crime or violated some social norm, her husband could face societal or legal consequences. In the modern day, we talk about this all the time. You want a woman to submit to you. Let me tell you what submission gets to you. Let me tell you what happens when society says the woman must submit to you. She is your property. That means you're responsible for her. So in contemporary marriages, the concept of alimony is rooted in the idea that a husband has responsibility to support his wife, particularly if she sacrificed her career or her education for the marriage. She submitted to his will. So this expectation is traced back to historical notions of ownership, where the husband was seen as the provider for his dependent wife. Consequently, what happens if the marriage ends? What happens if the marriage ends? You think your obligation is going to end? Absolutely not. You have to pay alimony as a reflection of this responsibility. And in many jurisdictions, this obligation to pay alimony extends throughout the rest of the wife's life. What does that mean? That means even if you pass away, you are still obligated, or your estate is still obligated to pay that woman alimony. Damn. Damn. Somebody type damn in the chat room. So do you really want submission? Somebody hit the number 1 button. I need to know y'all are in here. Do you really want submission? Do you want strict submission, fellas? Because along with strict submission comes a lot of burden that are placed on men. You might get a little power around the house, but there's going to be some consequences. Could be legal, both financial and criminal. The other thing is, we always talk about child support. We hate child support, but the children are submissive to the father. You are basically in charge of them. Child support laws hold fathers accountable for the financial well-being of the children. This obligation arises from the belief that the father is responsible for providing for the family, regardless of marital status, because they are in effect have submitted to you. They're your property. They see them as nothing more than slaves. This is where that law came from Roman law, passed through Great Britain and ended up over here in the United States. So the expectation of child support is grounded in the traditional view that man must continue to support his wife and children, reflecting a legacy of responsibility rooted in historical views of marriage. Do you really want a woman who is submitted to you? I'm just asking. Do you really want true submission? Or do you want cooperation? Because to me, submission has a lot of, it's got a lot of sticky parts to it. Now, many men struggle with these responsibilities, and you often feel the weight of being held accountable for your wives, your actions, their actions and decisions. You know, guys don't like paying money to your baby mamas. You feel that she's responsible, but she didn't tell you she wasn't on birth control pill. She locked her legs in and kept you in when your little yogurt was coming out. And now you expected to pay child support. Because even in the context of outside of the marriage, the man is still deemed responsible because of the notions of submission. Child support is burdensome, just like alimony, especially in relationships where the dynamic has shifted towards greater equality and shared responsibility. But you still have to pay child support. Now, these examples illustrate how historical and religious contexts have often held men accountable for their wives and the women they deal with. Actions due to the dynamics of ownership and submission. See, such a framework reflects harsh realities where folks, where individual agency is undermined, leading to significant consequences for both men and women. Now, while many modern interpretations of marriage aim to move away from these dynamics, understanding these historical precedents can help shed light on the ongoing discussion about gender roles and responsibilities in relationships. Look, let's look at the significant societal changes over the past 2,000 years. If you're still stuck on submission, all right, submission in the context of marriage is becoming increasingly outdated. And men need to focus on cooperative women rather than submissive women, because she makes more money than you. She has more knowledge than you on different subjects. You're a plumber, you're a truck driver. She's a accountant. She works at a bank. She probably knows more about money than you. So you want a cooperative woman, not a submissive woman. You don't want a slave. So in today's legal framework, even, which upholds equality and individual rights, it ensures that both people in the marriage have autonomy and a voice in the decision making. That's what you want. You don't want a submissive wife, because when she goes out and steals a pack of toilet paper from the corner store, you're responsible for that. So fostering cooperation in a relationship, it promotes mutual respect and shared responsibilities. And it empowers women to contribute their unique strengths and skills. And it creates an environment where each person can thrive. Otherwise, you got a victim in the house, and that's not going to last long. The other thing is, you guys will have daughters. And you don't want your daughter to be a slave to someone else after you've poured all this time and resources into her. Not only being cooperative with your woman and having a cooperative relationship, but it enhances her personal fulfillment, but it also provides strong foundation for your children and achieving family objectives. Look, ultimately, the cooperative dynamic leads to balance and a balanced and equitable marriage, and that reflects modern values. Things change, times change. If you read the Bible, slavery was legal. Slavery is illegal right now. Things change. I know some of you read strict adherences. You strictly interpret the Bible, but that's not what it was meant to do. Read it and understand the culture and the context of the time. There was a time when violence was everywhere. Animals were everywhere. Sicknesses were everywhere. A lot of women got married young and died young, but we're not talking about women who are dying at 30, 40, 30, 34 years old. We're talking about women who live to 60, 70, 80s, who may rise to the level of CEOs of companies. Why would she submit to you? Especially on a subject that she's mastered. You want a cooperative partner in that regard. Now, overall, we're talking about why chubby chicks can win. And I use the term chubby. Somebody type chubby chaser in the chat room. Somebody type big wow in the chat room. Big gal. Somebody type big gal in the chat room. Somebody type big gal in the chat room. Somebody type larger ladies in the chat room. Generally speaking, what I'm talking about is women who may be deemed less desirable, but she cooks and cleans. Now, we've already addressed the situation of cooperative. I'm talking about how men should choose women based on more practical aspects if they want to accumulate wealth and money and power. So we explain the difference between submission and cooperation, and why we prefer a woman who cooperates. Now let's talk about the fact that she cooks and cleans. Now let's deal with it from this point. From a psychological standpoint, and I need 14 more super chats to get to 20. There's several reasons why men might choose to marry a woman who may not be as physically attractive, but excels in qualities like cleanliness and cooking. In addition to the cooperation, because most men who want to be successful, you got to have a woman that cooperates. You can't have a Hellcat. Okay? So from a psychological perspective, we've already established that cooperation is essential for the most part. Now we're going to talk about the importance of cooking and cleaning. And I know some ladies out there who can throw down. You can put your foot in the meal if you need to. But let's look at the psychological perspective. Many men prioritize emotional connection and companionship over physical appearance. Now, they might say she got to be all this and all that, but at the end of the day, a woman who provides a nurturing and supportive environment can deepen feelings of love and attachment. Society often values traditional roles where domestic skills such as cooking and cleaning are highly regarded. A woman who embodies these qualities, she's going to be viewed as more a desirable woman for the long-term relationship. Somebody type long-term. Somebody type long-term in the chat room. A clean, well-maintained home can be perceived by a man as a sign of stability, creating a sense of security and comfort that is often prioritized in a relationship. If you got that going on, man, you got peace of mind. All you need to do is focus on the money. To many men, we consider domestic skills as an indicator of long-term compatibility, which can outweigh initial physical attraction, especially when making a decision about what woman you want to keep. Now, as a practical matter, a woman who keeps a clean home and prepares meals contributes significantly to the comfort of daily life. In the long term, relationships, the practical aspects of living together often take precedence over physical attributes. For men considering starting a family, a woman's ability to maintain a nurturing environment, including cooking and household management, that can be highly valued. A woman's domestic skills can be seen as a valuable asset, contributing way more to an efficient household and potentially saving money on services like cleaning and dining out. How much money will you spend on that hot 10 or that fine 9 that you picked up? She can't cook. She don't want to get her nails dirty. And if you won't take her out, it's 30 other dudes lined up to do it. She has a whole roster of people who are willing to not to take her on dates, but to feed her. She goes on feedings. There are a large percentage of women who simply call men to take them out solely so they can eat. So ask yourself about the economic factors of trying to deal with one of these women who you deem super attractive. Now, a woman who takes on domestic tasks, she creates a more balanced relationship. And that allows this man to focus on his career. And it also allows him to focus on being more supportive. A woman who cooks and cleans and cooperates and communicates effectively, she can have a profound positive impact on a relationship, a family, a community. And by maintaining a welcoming and orderly home, she enhances the emotional connection and sense of security within the relationship. Her ability to manage daily routines and contribute to the household's well-being, it supports balanced and harmonious relationship, allowing everybody in the house to thrive, including the children. Check this scenario out. A woman prepares a variety of nutritious meals that cater to her man's dietary needs. She shows thoughtfulness, and you could taste the food. You know when it's good. You know when there's somebody put some good loving into it, right? You know that, right? You can tell when she cares. She puts your little food on the plate, and none of the stuff touches the other stuff, and it smells good, and it's the right color. You don't have that whiff of burnt anything in the kitchen. That shows thoughtfulness. It shows care. It's promoting a healthy lifestyle and good feelings. And you sitting there watching a woman, because nothing is, to me, it's nothing more attractive than hearing my lady in the kitchen banging plates and cooking. Especially when she gets creative in the chat in the kitchen. It strengthens the relationship. That motivates me. Are y'all with me? Do I need to turn the music on? Are y'all listening? What about a woman that keeps a clean house? That's a welcoming environment. A tidy home reduces stress and fosters a sense of peace, and it allows the man to feel comfortable and relaxed. This is what I'm working for. This is why I work all day. You're motivated. This also enhances the emotional connection, and it boosts his productivity, whether he's working or engaging in hobbies. This is what a woman who cooks and cleans can do. She creates a cozy atmosphere for the family gatherings or date nights, complete with home cooked meals. Look, let me tell you something, man. All you passport bros, I've been there before. I probably spent $50,000 in flights alone in 2016, flights alone. And very rarely did I ever get a home cooked meal. You can't get that. You can't get that type of nurturing. You can eat out all you want. But eating a good home cooked meal at home, that creates lasting memories. It creates a sense of belonging. A good woman is the soul of your house. She can make your house a home. It encourages quality time and it reinforces emotional bonds. It's a warm, inviting home makes a man feel valued and appreciated. And it further deepens the connection. So that being the case, family, brothers, are you listening? Choosing a woman based on practical qualities such as cooking and cleaning, as opposed to solely physical attractiveness, that can have a significant long-term benefit for a man. A woman skilled in domestic tasks contributes to a stable, organized home in life. And that's essential for a long-term relationship. And a long-term relationship is going to help you make more money. You select your woman on practical qualities. A woman that has shared values, shared life goals. And that it leads to greater compatibility and mutual understanding over time. A woman who provides emotional and practical support, that greatly enhances a man's well-being. You a happy soldier. You a happy warrior. Now, again, physical attraction might initially spark interest, but that emotional connection built through shared responsibilities and nurturing, that becomes more fulfilling over time. Emotional intimacy developed through shared experience like cooking together, like cooking and watching her cook. You might even help cook sometime. Coming home to a clean home, that's going to deepen the relationship beyond a physical attraction. It's a difference between effing and making love. Okay? It's a difference between I love you and loving somebody. It's just a big difference. And if you haven't got there, I pity you. Hopefully you'll get there. But it's not those little butterfly feelings. That's not the love I'm talking about. See, a woman who effectively manages a household and the task, she contributes more efficient to a more efficient daily life. That allows you to focus on your career, your hobbies, your personal growth without the added undue stress of home responsibilities. Another thing is an organized home saves time and it reduces conflict over chores. And so you have a more harmonious environment. And for those considering starting a family, a woman with strong domestic skills, she's going to create a nurturing environment for children. encompassing not only cooking and cleaning, but also fostering a supportive atmosphere for learning and growth. That's the type of woman you want. That's who you can build with. Anything else is just going to tear you down. Shout out Chubby Chasers. Where my chub? Look, don't run now. Don't run away now. She might be chubby. She might be not as beautiful as some other women, but my God, she's still a diamond. See, a woman who exemplifies practical qualities serves as a positive role model for children, and it instills values of responsibility, care, and teamwork. That's the type of woman you want, man. Not just some fine chick with a BBL. A woman who cooks can save on dining out. Cleaning the home, you don't even need a professional cleaning services. I've gone into some very wealthy people's homes and they are just disgusting, dirty, nasty. Nobody's in there. Oh, the maid didn't come. Why don't you go clean up? And the more importantly thing, these sort of contributions when she cooks and she cleans, shout out to Pilot Jace. Thank you so much. We need 13 more super chats. The practical contribution of a woman who cooks and cleans is that now, guess what? You got better financial management with that relationship, especially when you're starting out. Every little bit counts. Let me tell you something, man. I've saved enough money over the past 3 or 4 years. I just dropped a pool in the backyard. I'm about to build a second house. See, what you brothers don't realize, and I'm going to take a point of personal preference, being a passport bro is expensive. Being a passport bro is expensive. Some of y'all can take a little trip here and there. That's not passport bro. That's just taking a little trip. When you have a villa overseas and an apartment and a whole other set of group of women that you deal with, that's real passport bro. That's expensive. That might be $300,000-$400,000. That's why it was fun. It was something I did. I enjoyed it. But you grow out of that when you start becoming more concerned with your legacy. Somebody type legacy in the chat room. Somebody type legacy in the chat room. As a grown man, and my lady, she got jokes. She said, yeah, you know, you did your passport, bro, but now you're in your king. What did she say? You're in your king state. You see? When you start being more concerned about your legacy. And when you have a woman that contributes to the household management, it optimizes your resources and allocation. And it ensures that your time and your money and your efforts are used effectively. And that's what I have. So again, physical attraction might be the initial draw. But the practical benefits of choosing a woman with qualities like cooking and cleaning and cooperation, that's going to lead to a more sustainable, fulfilled relationship. And these qualities foster emotional intimacy. It enhances daily life. It supports the family dynamic. It promotes healthier, better financial management, ultimately contributing to a long-term, happy, stable life. A woman's cooking and cleaning contribute to a harmonious and supportive relationship. And they promote emotional intimacy, improve daily living, and create nurturing environment and strengthens the relationship. I want y'all to hear me, man. This is how you choose a woman. Not because she's fine. She's not going to be fine all the time anyway. Now, we're going to take a quick break. We are an hour in. I'm going to need 13 super chats. I need y'all to make it happen, man. Go ahead and give me 13 super chats, but we'll be right back. You guys, make sure you have, YouTube is unsubscribing my subscribers, so I'm trying to get to 100,000, and I got up to like 120, 70,120, and they took 15. So if you've been subscribed to my channel, double check and make sure you're still subscribed. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this brief word from the good brother that you and I all know, Brother Kevin Samuels.
I want to see you win. And I put pressure on us men to understand how we did not get our masculinity training. And we've been doing our work, okay? But now it's time for you ladies to understand you're going to have to bet on us like you want us to bet on you. I talked to several men this week. I don't just get on here and talk shit. I have men I call around the world and I ask, what do you think about this concept? Level set me. Shout out to brother Dennis Spurling. Dennis, I'm not gonna get. Well, I don't want to tell people's business, but I'm gonna tell you, high value men retire their women or make them come work for them. So, ladies, what is it going to take for you to free yourself? Because you and I both know you're dying at these jobs. You're in a toxic.
Oh, wow. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah. So we got a couple of super chats. The first thing I want to do, I want to wrap this thing up. I want to finish. So basically, guys, we've been talking about money and power and wealth. And typically, the woman that you bring closest to you, she could either be a saint or she could be a sinner. You understand? She could be an angel or she can be a devil. It's the one that she has your ear. She's next to you. So you have got to be wise. And oftentimes we choose the superficial over the practical. And so an essential component of a relationship that fosters the accumulation of wealth and power and success is being with a peaceful woman who motivates and supports you. She doesn't need to be the most attractive or have a supermodel figure. What truly matters is her ability to create a harmonious environment and inspire you to achieve your goals. It's crucial to be with a woman who genuinely likes and appreciates you for who you are. You shouldn't have to stunt and floss and pretend to be something you're not. If you have to do all that, then that woman doesn't like you. If you find yourself having to spend money on this woman all the time, she doesn't like you. And you need to just go ahead and deal with that. You find yourself calling her and she's not calling you, she doesn't like you. And if you try to go out of your way to make her like you or make her cooperate with you, you're going to get what you asked for. And it's not going to be what you want or what you thought you want. It's many of men right now who are dealing with women that they can't stand because they wanted them. You wanted her and you got her. So we don't feel sorry for you. Okay? So it's crucial to be with a woman who genuinely likes you and appreciates you for who you are. She may not be the most conventionally attractive, but her warmth and her compatibility will make her a joy to be around. A woman who is on your program, who understands and supports your ambitions. She can be far more valuable than the one with the superficial qualities that you like. The key is to find a woman who motivates you to be the best version of you, fellas. Whether it's through encouragement, practical support, or simply providing a calm, stable home life. The right woman will push you to strive for more and reach your full potential. When seeking a wife, I'm not talking about them broads you hitting. That chick you laying up to right now with your earphones on, listening to the Blizzard King. I ain't talking about her. You know that relationship was a failure when you first ran up in there. But when you're seeking a wife, it's important to recognize that every woman, everyone, including yourself, everyone has flaws. The question to ask yourself is, which flaws are you willing to accept and which are a deal breaker for you? Understanding your own boundaries and preferences is essential to choosing a woman who will contribute positively to your life. Ultimately, fellas, the right woman is someone who brings peace and motivation and a shared vision for the future. Her ability to complement your life and help you grow will be far more valuable in the long run than temporary superficial attractions. Choosing such a woman is not just about emotional fulfillment, but it's also about laying a strong foundation for success in all areas of life, including the accumulation of wealth and power. And that's what we're talking about. Now, I mentioned this, and the brothers were in an uproar. So now we about to get down to the nitty gritty. Okay? I put a post up and I mentioned the fact that if a woman is a bit overweight, but she cooks and cleans, she can still attract a man. Because many men are willing to look past the weight issue. Look, man, let me tell you something. I want y'all listening. I like them big and I like them brown. That's my confession. I like me a big brown girl. If she about 5'8", 5'9", anything under 185 pounds, I'm cool with it, baby. Matter of fact, when I first got my divorce, I went straight for it, got me a big brown girl with a weave and everything. She did hair. She had some big old hairs, and she was sweet and pudgy. I just thought she was just sweet as she could be. I was just dealing with my divorce, but I like me a big brown girl. If you saw her walking down the street, most of y'all wouldn't talk to her. Five of big Texas brown, big, juicy. And she liked me too. But again, I was still reeling from the divorce, dealing with all that up and down. And I was even back then, I was a high value man. So what I'm trying, and she was sweet. She cooked, she cleaned, she was nice, cute face. Look, fellas, you know I'm not exaggerating. If you're not in the full of women, you're not in the larger ladies, then explain why so many big girls have children. That's what I want you to do. You brothers in particular, y'all need to cut it out. I know most of you brothers are dating bigger women. Why? Because 75 to 80% of black women are overweight. So who you dating? All y'all got white girls and Latinas? Hell no. The statistics show that black men generally are more accepting of women with some extra weight compared to men of other races. So let's not pretend it's not true. Let's keep it 100, fellas. You like these larger ladies. All of y'all got your Chubby Chaser card in your wallet. I already know. You don't have to lie to me. Consider the fact that most of us have Southern roots, where the preferences for fuller figured women is common. And those of you guys who are out there, no, you can object all you want to, but the reality is, okay, you're just being intellectually dishonest. As a black man, many of us were socialized to view big, beautiful women and plus size figures as ideal. Stop lying. Stop lying to me. I know you. I understand where the preferences come from. And there's no judgment here. I'm not judging. Uncle D had a little Chubby Chaser card for a while too. But how you gonna lie to me? We can see the dynamic in action every day. Plenty of big girls have men who wish, look, and the truth is some of these cats wish they could do better, but she cooks and she cleans. And she's not too much of a hassle. And you know what? There's always that hope. With a little encouragement, she might drop 45, 50 pounds. You know, that she wouldn't be half bad. Fellas, look. And I know you're mad at me, right? Because I'm spilling the beans, right? But I want to say this. It's important to distinguish between being a little overweight. And when I say little, I mean, she probably should be 145, but she probably about 185, 190. That's in the range. I'm not talking about 250, 300 pounds. That's not acceptable. I'm talking about a little overweight. I'm not talking about being significantly overweight. So all you big wide backs out there, this is not for you. Okay, now there might be somebody out there for you, But at 250 pounds, you out here breaking beds. You're not breaking hearts, okay? You're not breaking backboards. You breaking beds. You need to cut it out. But the truth is, most men don't demand a perfect physique. But what we do desire, a physique that's appealing. And at the end of the day, while physical attraction is a factor, many men value qualities like cooking and cleaning and a supportive attitude even more, especially when choosing a long-term relationship. So it's not just about size, it's about the whole package and how a woman complements a man's life. Now, the thing is, fellas, traveling overseas and experiencing life in different countries has profoundly inspired Black men to adopt what we would consider an abundance mindset. Every time they hop off the plane, there's plenty of women around trying to get you to pay to play. And now you beside yourself. Like, I'm mad when you're coming back on the flights. Don't want to talk to anybody when you get home. I know. You find yourself surrounded by slim, fit, beautiful, cooperative women who are friendly to you. And that exposure to a different standard of femininity can be a game changer. And once they've seen and experienced what it's like to be with women who embody these qualities, their expectations shift. And they begin to understand what they truly want and desire in a woman. And settling for anything else just becomes unthinkable. Basically, their preferences evolve naturally, making it nearly impossible for them to go back to what they were accustomed to before. And that's them big girls. Somebody type Chubby Chase in the chat room. Even if they tried to get them a chunky chick, the idea of returning to a relationship with a larger lady or those who don't meet their new standards, it doesn't appeal to them anymore. They've been to Brazil. They've been to Colombia. These are some of the most beautiful women in the world. It's like they're being introduced to a new level of femininity that they hadn't realized was possible. A kind of femininity that is so soft and nurturing and effortlessly supportive in a perfect body. And the truth is, this new experience of femininity is intoxicating. It's like a powerful drug that once sampled, it becomes difficult to give up. And it's not just about physical appearance, it's the entire package. The grace, the cooperation, the warmth, and the ease of being around such women, and the novelty of being around what we would consider exotic women. After being exposed to that kind of energy, the idea of settling for anything less is like stepping backwards. So those brothers are gone. Shout out to the passport bros. They're gone. They're gone. But that's a very small percentage of men, a very tiny percentage of Black men. Some men will go and come back. Some men will stay. The truth is, for many Black men, this experience abroad opens their eyes to what's possible in a relationship. It teaches them that they don't have to compromise on their desires to settle or settle for less than what they truly what truly aligns with their values and aspirations. The knowledge and awareness they gain from these experiences abroad, global gentlemen, passport bros, they stay with them, and making it clear that they deserve the woman who brings out the best in them, a woman who embodies the femininity they now know is out there. And this realization reinforces their commitment to seek out relationships that elevate them rather than settling for something that doesn't truly fulfill them, because their eyes have been opened. I'm just telling you. That's why there's so many people who are trying to shame the passport bros, because the more men go and partake in the experience associated with being with women overseas, very rarely will they come back, because number one, a lot of Black American women will refuse to compete with those women. They will refuse to try to lose weight. Once these men's taste change, it's a wrap. That's just the reality of it. But for the vast majority of black men, they're not going anywhere. They have that Southern upbringing. They was raised by a big girl. Their baby mother is a big girl. Most of the women they dated were overweight. It is what it is. You got them. And fellas, for you guys, I mean, unless your tastes have just absolutely changed and you can't be without a woman who is fit, feminine, and beautiful and a dime piece, cool. There are plenty of them in Colombia. There are plenty of them in the Dominican Republic. They're there. Go get one. Not mad at you. But even over there, make sure she has those qualities. Now, it's true. I want you to hear something. Some of you women have children. It's common for women to gain weight after having children and being in long-term relationships. Now, you men saying you don't want to date women with children, but there are still men who are having sex with these women, and you impregnate them again and again and again. There are men out there who love to take care of these type of women. You guys swear up and down you don't want big girls who have children, and you study impregnating them. The truth is, larger women are not often considered by men as optimal for serious relationships. This doesn't mean that men aren't willing to sleep with them or even establish long-term relationships and marriages with them. Just because you're not his number one pick doesn't mean you can't get married. Again, we're talking about cooks, cleans, cooperates, how chubby chicks can win. And when I say chubby chicks, I'm just talking about women who are deemed less desirable. There's a high occurrence of larger women who are in long-term relationships. And that proves my point. A little overweight. A little overweight may not be a huge factor for many men. Now, the thing is, what qualifies as a little overweight? And that can vary from person to person. Every man has his own standards. And it's important to own your preferences, fellas, rather than adopting someone else's. I remember as a young man, I thought that I liked light-skinned chicks with long hair and pretty colored eyes. Come to find out, I like extremely dark-skinned sisters who are voluptuous. Matter of fact, I wrote about it in my book. I talked about this young lady named Chocolate. I mean, I thought she was the finest thing I've ever seen. I was fresh out of law school, had my first job down in New Orleans. Good, sweet baby Jesus. She had that long black hair all the way down her back, and she had those sharp features, and her skin was dark chocolate, like a milk chocolate bar. Gorgeous. From St. Rose, Louisiana, about, I guess, 25, 30 miles outside of New Orleans. Just gorgeous. I couldn't get enough of her. Lord Jesus. But it was at that point I realized that it's my preferences that count, but society programs you to believe what you like. Some of you guys like voluptuous women. Some of you guys say you wouldn't date a woman who is overweight. Well, between 165 and 185 is considered overweight. But this body type is not uncommon in the black community, especially considering many of you were raised by black women who are a bit overweight. Many of your children's mothers are overweight. Your girlfriends right now. I know you're not being honest. If she's cooking and cleaning, she's a keeper. If she's cooperative, you might want to go ahead and lock her down. And the thing is, as far as weight, let's think about this. Some people have slow metabolisms. I have a slow metabolism, but it's something that developed as a survival trait. If you have a low metabolism or slow metabolism, it likely means your ancestors came from an area with food scarcity, where their bodies adapted to survive harsh conditions like brutal winters. And so you were able to store food. A low metabolism would have helped my ancestors make it through tough times. Now, with plenty of food available, we might carry a little extra weight. On the other hand, or for instance, let's say if you're tall, you're short stature, that might help you retain warmth. It could also be beneficial for survival. On the other hand, if you're a tall, slim person, you burning calories like crazy, it probably means your ancestors lived in a warmer climate where food was readily available year-round. So whether you're carrying a bit of extra weight or you're naturally slim, these traits are tied to survival strategies for your ancestors. I want you fellas to own your body. Own your body type, be proud of your history and what it represents. Now, fellas, we talked about a few main points here. Number one, we are talking about money, okay? And how to accumulate money, how to accumulate power. Having a bunch of children spread out through different women is not good for accumulating money, power, or prestige. Having a woman who's a Hellcat and a Hellraiser at home is not good for money, power, and prestige. So there are some practical considerations. Now, not all men require a slim woman, irrespective of the state. I want a fit, feminine. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Not all men require a slim woman. Many men prioritize qualities like cooking, cleaning over physical appearance. A woman who can maintain a clean home and cook meals is often more valued than one who's simply physically attractive. That's just it. Experienced men often aim for women who are 6s and 7s in terms of looks because highly attractive women come with more challenges. These men often prioritize peace and stability in a relationship over the hassle of maintaining a relationship with a very attractive woman. Look, long-term viability in that regard, physical attributes like slimness and shapeliness, that fades with time. And this makes qualities like kindness, love, good food, cleanliness, non-negotiable in the long run. Cooking and cleaning aren't enough for some men. You got to add cooperation. That's crucial in a relationship. And while some men might tolerate an uncooperative woman, if she has other desirable traits, cooperation is generally seen as a must for all men across the board. Now, men who aim to accumulate wealth and power should choose women who choose a woman who contributes to his goals. And an uncooperative woman can be a hindrance. And so what that means is cooperation is a key in mate selection for you fellas. Now, as far as you brothers, before you rebel, I know I'm going to lose some subscribers up in here for this, but look, the stats show that black men are more accepting of women who are overweight compared to men of other races, which is reflected in the high percentage of black men or black women who are overweight and in relationships and have children. Most of you brothers have been socialized to view bigger women as ideal. It's just 100 with you, right? I'm keeping it a buck, especially if you have Southern roots, where these preferences are more common. You're not unaccustomed to seeing large women in your life. You've seen them big arms hanging out when they're cooking greens. You're used to it. Now, things are changing. You have men who are traveling overseas and exposure to different standards of femininity, especially when you're traveling to countries like Brazil and Colombia. You see slim women, beautiful women who are cooperative. You get everything. You get fit, feminine and beautiful and cooperative, and she cooks and cleans. Come on, ladies, even one of y'all to choose that. That's going to change a man's preference permanently. And once exposed to these qualities, many of these black men find it hard to go back to relationships with the typical normal black American woman, even if she is cooperative, even if she does cook and clean. And that's why it's important for you women to start competing right now. You shouldn't be complaining about the women overseas and calling them names. You should start trying to figure out, what do we need to do to keep our men here? And shaming is not going to work. Now, the thing is, fellas, you don't need to try to set your standards by what you want. Men should have their own preferences and be honest about that. If a man finds qualities like cooking and cleaning and cooperation appealing, you shouldn't be ashamed if it comes in a big girl package. You better love that big girl, especially if she's kind to you. Even if your standards differ from societal norms, if you got a good woman who's going to help you create a stable life, you can have something with her instead of trying to chase that unicorn. I want y'all to think about that. And of course, we talked about just truly how superficial, when we talk about metabolism and biology, it's kind of superficial. All right. Now, we deep into this conversation. I have still 13 super chats short. Before I close out and before I read these super chats, because I got something else to say, and it's going to be brutally honest. We're going to go straight Blizzard King on you guys. I need you fellas to make sure you show me you appreciate what I'm doing. I have 7 super chats. I need to make sure we get 13 super chats. And since y'all haven't blessed me with 13 more super chats, until you do, I'm going to let Jesus at the True Vine Missionary Baptist Church, the Jesus that came on that day while I recorded this church organ, I'm going to let them bless you until y'all give me my super chats. Hallelujah. on a minute. I'm gonna need to get some super chats popping off. Y'all need to go ahead and pay me for my time, man. We got 17. We got 3. I need 13 more super chats. I don't care what you do. You need to show that you appreciate my time, because I could be doing something else, which I would prefer to be doing. But since y'all being cheap tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and get it popping. I trust that you all will come through for me later on in the Super Heart. But gentlemen, I want you brothers to hear me out. Big shout out to the Big Girl Brigade. Shout out to my man Cody Marshall. All we need now is 8 more super chats, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you, fam. Appreciate you, fam. Come on through. But anyway, let me make sure I put that in there, man. Yeah. So we need 12 more super chats. But let's go ahead and push this thing on into infinity. Shout out to my man, Brother Marcus. Good looking out, man. He said, I was jamming to the church music. Hallelujah for the collection plates. Yeah, man. Now all we need is another 11 super chats, and that'll keep us popping, man. So y'all keep doing what you're doing. But like I said, if you choose a woman who's pretty but can't cook, right? She's sexy but won't clean, or worse, won't even clean her body. Yeah, right? She's uncooperative. You're setting yourself up for a lifetime of mediocrity, if not outright failure. You might be infatuated with her looks, but let me be bluntly honest. Beauty fades. And when it does, you'll be left with someone who brings nothing but headaches and stress to your life. Your dreams of accumulating wealth and power will crumble because you'll be too busy dealing with her nonsense instead of focusing on your goals. You think you're a man? You think you're man enough to handle a woman who doesn't pull her weight? Shh. Think again. A woman who can't or won't cook means you'll be wasting money on eating out, money that you could have invested in your future. And a woman who won't clean means you'll be living in chaos, a home that doesn't provide the peace and stability you need to excel. It's going to be you, the rats, and the roaches. That's what's going to happen. And that uncooperative woman, forget about it. Nah. She'll be the anchor that drags you down, preventing you from ever reaching your full potential, and you'll spend more time arguing and less time building your empire. You won't be the man, the king in your household. If that's what you want to be, you want to be the king, you want to be the man, then understand this. The responsibility that comes with choosing a woman who doesn't contribute to your success is immense. In a society that mandates women be quote unquote submissive to their husband, she becomes your child. And you, my friend, become her babysitter. And you'll be responsible for every one of her failures, her mistakes, her shortcomings. She'll drain your energy, your resources, your time, and all things you should be investing in your growth and success. You're not ready for that kind of responsibility. If you're choosing a woman based on superficial qualities, if you think you can build wealth and power while dragging around a woman who's dead weight, you're delusional. Your prospects of success will diminish with every passing day. And before you know it, you'll be stuck in a life of frustration, wondering where it all went wrong. The harsh truth. If you're not selecting a woman who cooks and cleans and cooperates, you're not ready for life. You're not ready for the life you claim you want. And you're not ready for the responsibility of leading the household, let alone amassing wealth and power. You're playing yourself. And you're going to lose big. You're going to lose big time. So take a hard look at your choices and decide if you want to be the man who thrives or the man who struggles, weighed down by a woman who's nothing but a liability. Choose wisely, fellas. Or be prepared to pay the price for the rest of your life. Now, I want to give a big shout out to the fellas who came through. We only got 9 super chats, but that's all right, man. We got that naughty 9. Big shout out to my man, Mark the Freelancer. Some of y'all say the water broke, but it's the Coca-Cola. Thank you so much, fam. My man, Jamal Smith, just the title of the video had me hollering. Yeah, man. Cooks, cleans, and cooperates. How a chubby chick can win. Praise God. Shout out to Humble Introvert. He said, yeah, I had a few chunky ones myself. Laugh out loud. Keep up the good work. I will, man. I want to see you win. I want to see y'all balling. Shout out to Vincent Robinson. The late Kevin Samuel said men will date down for cooperation. They certainly will, and he certainly did. Thank you, Locke. Vegas said, look, stop. For me, if a woman is a 6 or better, hygiene, cooperation, and domestic skills, precedence for 10. Hell yeah, man, especially the hygiene. Jamal Smith, in my experience, the 2 big girls I messed around with were funny as hell and could throw down in the kitchen. Can't they? Yeah, they got that good conversation and they're compensating. Appreciate that. Polite Pilot Jay said, thank you for all you do, Unc. I truly appreciate the insight, knowledge, and wisdom. Yes, sir, no problem. Shout out to my man, Cody Marshall. Good looking out, fam. Look, man, thank you guys so much. I appreciate everybody who came through. I want to give a big shout out to all my guys who contribute to the Cash App. Thank you, guys. I know it's late tonight, and I know that you guys probably said, well, man, we ain't about to get this dude the 20 super chat. It's late. I get it, but that's all right. I appreciate the ones who came through, man. I know how it is. But I wanted to make sure that I finished this round of conversations up, because the type of woman you choose to be with, the woman you decide to have children with and spend your time with, it's going to play a lot. It's going to say a lot about who you are as a man. And I don't want you guys to choose for superficial reasons and end up with a woman who tears you down, because that's the last thing you need. This divorce is hard and it's expensive and it's worth it. But bottom line is, if you can avoid it and you can get with a woman who treats you well, who's nice, who's friendly, irrespective of the fact that she's a little bit overweight, you'd be tripping if you passed her up. Shout out to my man, Mr. Henderson, and big shout out to Jerome. Thank you guys so much. I have had a great time talking about these things. Remember, this was inspired by Kevin Samuels. He tried to get me before he passed away to talk about money and power. This is what he wanted me to do. And so, I want you guys to be able to accumulate influence, money, and power. And you can't do that if you're not properly motivated. If you go home to a woman who has got the personality of a cardboard box, she might be pretty, she might be cute, and you may enjoy banging her every now and then, but the truth is, a good home-cooked meal and a clean house and a cooperative woman is going to make you feel a lot better in the long run, okay? And I want you guys, that's what I want. I want to see you do well in life. I want to see you have great legacies. This is what I'm interested in, and that's because I truly love you. So I'm not going to lie to you, Yeah, you might want to enjoy the company of these so-called fine women, the beautiful ones, the dimes and everything. But at the end of the day, man, they got personalities like tadpoles. Trust me, I've been there, done that. Uncle D got the supermodels. I did that. I got exactly what I asked for too. Got exactly what I asked for. And that's why I'm telling you, I'm speaking from experience. Nobody else on these YouTube streets been doing it before they got to YouTube. They got YouTube famous. I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm real world famous. I'm real world, what you would call the high value man, not somebody who pretends to be. So just keep that in mind, family. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. God bless you. And as I always say, this is Uncle D, and I am up out of here.
In the Spurling podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe.